President Mahama said the launch marks a turning point in Ghana's development agenda. He stated that today marks a defining moment in our national journey. We are not merely launching a program, but laying the foundation for a new economy. The president noted that the program is more than a fulfilled campaign promise. He described it as a strategic pillar of the government's plan to build a knowledge-based and innovation-driven economy. And we are declaring with boldness and purpose that Ghana is ready to lead in the digital age. We are saying to our youth, our communities, the continent, and the world that the future is here, and we will be part of shaping it.
A fulfilled campaign promise. It is a strategic pillar of our Reset Ghana agenda, designed to empower Ghanaians with digital skills critical for 21st century life and work. It is an intentional move towards building a knowledge-based, innovation-driven economy, one where our greatest resource, our people, are equipped to create solutions, generate jobs, and be able to compete globally. At the heart of this initiative is our belief in Ghanaian youth. We believe in your creativity, your resilience, and your boundless potential. This program is an investment in our youth, an investment in their future as coders, as analysts, as entrepreneurs, and as tech pioneers. When I asked for your mandate to serve once more as president, I made a promise that our national recovery will be people-centered, innovation-led, and future-focused. And that recovery begins by breaking down the barriers that hold us back, social, economic, and digital. Today, we begin breaking down those barriers. Over the next 4 years, the 1 Million Coders program will train 1 million Ghanaians in essential digital skills, from coding and cybersecurity to data analytics and networking. These are not just technical abilities, they are economic passports, pathways to decent jobs, entrepreneurship, and long-term social economic inclusion.
President Mahama explained that the 1 Million Coders program will provide comprehensive training in digital fields such as coding, cybersecurity, data analytics, and networking. These are not just technical abilities, he emphasized. They are economic passports, pathways to decent jobs, entrepreneurship, and long-term socio-economic inclusion. He reaffirmed his commitment to a people-centered and innovation-led recovery. He also added that we are changing the national narrative from one of the limitations to one of the limitless potential, from a country that consumes imported technologies to a country that creates its own, from young people waiting for jobs to young people creating jobs. This is how to build a resilient and future-ready Ghana, because this is how to build resilient Ghana.
Let us not underestimate what this represents for our country. We're changing the national narrative from one of limitations to one of limitless potential. From a country that consumes imported technologies to a country that creates its own. From young people waiting for jobs to young people creating jobs. This is how to build a resilient and future-ready country, Ghana. To the youth of Ghana, I say this program is for you. Take it and own it. Let this be your launchpad into innovation, entrepreneurship, and global relevance. Let this be the bridge between your dreams and the opportunities of the digital age. You're not just participants in this initiative, you are the architects of Ghana's digital future.
Moving away, the Minister of Communications, Sam George Nati, has underscored the significance of the 1 Million Coders program as an initiative designed to provide equal digital opportunities for young Ghanaians, particularly those from disadvantaged backgrounds. Speaking at the launch of the program at the Ghana-India Kofi Annan Center of Excellence in ICT, GIKCE, in Accra, today, Wednesday, April 16th, he stated, "This initiative is designed to level the playing field. It will open doors for individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds, those too often excluded from the digital economy, to gain the skills and knowledge they need to succeed." The minister highlighted the alarming fact that nearly 1 in 5 youth in Ghana are neither in education, employment, nor training. He stressed that this exclusion is particularly high among rural populations, women, and persons with disabilities. They will be catered for under this program, Nate assured. He further encouraged the youth of Ghana to seize the opportunities that the 1 million coders program will offer. This initiative is a call to action. We need your creativity, your passion, and your talent to drive innovation and entrepreneurship in our nation. He urged, "I encourage you to take full advantage of this opportunity and become part of the next generation of coders." He added. He also expressed his deep appreciation to international partners who have pledged support for the program, including MTN Group, Telecel Ghana, Google, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, ALX, and several others.
Mr. President, we planned to do the pilot with 260 students. But within the first 4 hours of announcing, we had over 4,000 applications. We decided to do a double track and do 520. As at this morning, about 30 minutes ago, the number of applications we have received is 91,847 applications. This speaks to the visionary nature of your plan and vision to transform our digital ecosystem. All the courses published for this program will have fundamentals of coding embedded in the course delivery. There will also be elective coding courses to be run as part of the entire program, and all the courses will be run simultaneously in all the regions. This initiative is a strategic investment in our youth, empowering them with in-demand digital skills that align with the jobs to be created under the 24-hour economy policy. Ghana faces a youth unemployment rate of over 12%, and yet the digital economy is projected to create millions of new jobs across Africa by 2030. By partnering with the private sector, we're not only expanding access to opportunity, but also ensuring relevance. Training 1 million coders is more than a number. It's a commitment to innovation, problem solving, and preparing our youth to drive Ghana's industrialization and economic diversification from the front lines.
Away from that story, Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokono has launched major reforms to improve the efficiency of Ghana's jury system as the 2025 criminal assizes officially opened across the country. Speaking at the opening ceremony held at the Law Complex in Accra, the Chief Justice announced that the list of eligible juries has been greatly expanded to include a wider group of Ghanaians, especially from the private sector. Over the years, and strangely, the justice sector seems to have become constrained only to a small pool from which juries were chosen. This pool seems to have become confined to clerical staff in the civil or public service institutions, and in a few instances, officers from the education sector, she said. She noted that this practice has led to some jurors serving in several trials over many years, turning them into almost professional jurors, and not the lay group with fresh exposure to legalities that they were needed to be. Under the reforms, the judiciary aims to include all citizens qualified by law. Jury lists have been expanded to include all citizens qualified by law, including many individuals in the private sector, the Chief Justice stated. She cited Section 208 of Act 30, which disqualifies any person convicted of treason, felony, or an offense involving dishonesty from serving as a jury unless they have received a free pardon. She also highlighted concerns about the yearly revision of juries list under Section 213 of Act 30, describing the process as not thorough enough.
Under Section 208 of Act 30, a person convicted of treason or felony or an offense involving dishonesty is disqualified to serve as a juror unless the person has obtained a free pardon. Over the years, and strangely, the justice sector seemed to have become constrained only to a small pool from which jurors were chosen. This pool seemed to have become confined to clerical staff in the civil and or public service institutions, and in a few instances, officers from the education sector. The yearly revision of lists required under Section 213 of Act 30 has seemed not to be thorough. This has caused the untenable problem of a particular juror being involved in several cases in different courts at the same time. Some of the jurors were on jury duty for years, and in some cases over a decade, making them almost professional jurors, and not the lay group with fresh exposure to legalities that they were needed to be. After much brainstorming, a team assisted me to propose solutions and reforms to make our jury system more efficient and result-oriented. In order to get the buy-in of all stakeholders, the team went on to do media and stakeholder engagements on national and regional platforms. As we open assizes today, jury lists have been expanded to include all citizens qualified by law, including many individuals in the private sector. Over time, steps will be taken to further expand the pool from which jurors will be selected. With these reforms, it is our expectation in the judiciary that the time of citizens engaged in jury duty not being used efficiently will change, and now there will be more expeditious disposal of cases. The time for change has gladly come, beginning from today's opening of the criminal session, which will be occurring in all the regions of Ghana, where trials on indictment will be conducted. The following administrative directions already exist for presiding judges and registrars of high courts, where trials on indictment are to be held.
Moving on. Speaking to journalists after the adjournment, Attorney General Dominic Ayeni reiterated that President Mahama has a constitutional duty to fulfill and assured that the process will proceed within the confines of the law. Addressing concerns about the state's absence during the earlier sitting on April 9th, Dr. Ayeni dismissed claims by former Attorney General and lawyer for the plaintiff, Godfred Yeboah-Adame, that the absence was a tactic to delay proceedings. Wednesday's session drew the attention of several high-profile legal practitioners, underscoring the significance of the case. The Supreme Court has adjourned the hearing of an injunction application challenging the procedure initiated by President John Dramani Mahama for the potential removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to May 6, 2025. The adjournment followed an announcement by the presiding judge, Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, who disclosed that a member of the panel was unavailable. The case was filed by Old Tafo Member of Parliament, Vincent Ekol Asefua, who is contesting the constitutional process initiated by President Mahama after receiving 3 petitions seeking the Chief Justice's removal from office. Mr. Asefua contends that Chief Justice Torkornoo should have been given an opportunity to respond to the allegations before the President proceeded to consult the Council of State, as required under Article 146(6) of the 1992 Constitution.
Yeah.
Is the President's consultation with the Council of State?
Well, I haven't spoken with the President yet, and I cannot give any definitive answer to the question whether the consultation will continue.
But certainly, what's your advice to him because of the pending?
The President and the Republic are my clients. I will not advise my client publicly.
The last time the former Attorney General spoke, he said he expects nothing but the president to hold on the processes. Is that what is happening?
Well, he has filed an application in court. The court is yet to make an order. So if he says that the president must hold on, is he saying that the court has already granted an order in respect of which the president, must not continue the process, right? First of all, he has to understand that this is the performance of a constitutional duty, right? And the law is very clear that you cannot enjoin the performance of a constitutional or public obligation. And so, for me, I don't see the point that he's trying to make by saying that the president must hold on to the process of consultation.
His argument is that because of what is happening here at the Supreme Court, the president ought to hold on.
Well, that is why I have said the president is performing a constitutional duty, and the law is very clear that you cannot enjoin the performance of a public obligation.
What do you make of today's adjournment? The adjournment?
No, the adjournment is to May 6th. So, because one of the panel members was not, was unavoidably absent, and so the court has adjourned it to the 6th of May.
At the last session, the former Attorney General mentioned how
big family radio.
A cybersecurity expert has called on telecommunications companies, particularly mobile money operators, to critically access their systems for vulnerabilities as mobile money fraud continues to surge across the country. Speaking to the media, Mr. Yao Ansuji-Abuo warned that recent reports of mobile money scams points to a possible system weaknesses that may be exploited by hackers or insiders. He further explained that these incidents may be due to vulnerabilities within the system that have either gone undetected or are being exploited by hackers. It could also involve insider threats where information is leaked from within. His comments follow a viral TikTok video by an MTN customer who alleged her Momo account was emptied without her involvement, one of many such complaints surfacing online in recent weeks. Meanwhile, MTN's Mobile Money Limited, in a statement, addressed the growing concerns over fraud on its platform. However, Mr. Jiabwa recommended that telcos urgently conduct ethical hacking or penetration testing to uncover any hidden flaws in their systems. There is something called zero-day vulnerability, where a flaw exists in a system or app, but it's unknown to the developer, vendor, and user. Ethical hacking helps identify and fix such vulnerabilities before they are exploited, he said. Mr. Jiabwa stressed the need for proactive rather than reactive security measures, noting that mobile phones host multiple applications that could be vulnerable to external hacks.
The reason MTN may not be too much worried is that apart from the incident that Honorable Sam George mentioned, where the person never gave the PIN out, in most cases, one has to give the PIN out. So the knowledge of funds availability in itself does not automatically translate into withdrawal on the side of the hacker. So this means that the user has a role to play by giving the PIN out. Now, when it comes to securing your system, for example, if on the side of the user, the mobile phone or whatever app is being used to receive or to transfer money is not protected, there can also be a problem. For example, I've had situations where people have called individuals and say, okay, give me a particular PIN. MTN has a PIN which users use to access funds that have been transferred to them. Then also on Google, if somebody calls you and says that, okay, there is a PIN coming to your phone, so give me that PIN. Once the person takes the PIN from you, he has control over your phone. He will listen to your conversations and he will be able to listen to whatever transaction.
Before we move and go and dive deeper into the international news, you can watch us live on Facebook at Big Family Radio and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can also read more of these stories on bigfamilyonline.com. Now, in the world of international news, Britain's highest court ruled on Wednesday that only biological and not trans women meet the definition of a woman under equality laws, a landmark decision greeted with concern by trans supporters but welcomed by the government as bringing clarity. The much-anticipated ruling centered on whether a trans woman with a gender recognition certificate, GRC, a formal document giving legal recognition of someone's new gender, is protected from discrimination as a woman under Britain's Equality Act. The decision confirms that single-sex services for women such as refugees, hospital wards and sports can exclude trans women, clearing up legal ambiguity. Transgender campaigners said the decision could lead to discrimination, especially over employment issues. The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms women and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex. Deputy President of the Supreme Court, Patrick Hodge, said, "But we counsel against reading these judgments as a triumph for one or more groups in our society at the expense of another. It is not. Transgender rights have become a highly political issue in Britain and other parts of the world. Some critics say the conservative right has weaponized identity politics to attack minority groups, while others argue that liberal support for transgender people has infringed on rights of biological women."
The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex. But we counsel against reading this judgment as a triumph of one or more groups in our society at the expense of another. It is not. As I shall explain later in this hand-down speech, the Equality Act 2010 gives transgender people protection not only against discrimination through the protected characteristic of gender reassignment, but also against direct discrimination, indirect discrimination, and harassment in substance in their acquired gender. This is the application of the principle of discrimination by association. Those statutory protections are available to transgender people whether or not they possess a gender recognition certificate.
Away from that story, Harvard Law School professor Andrew Manuel Crespo defended his university's decision to take a stand against the Trump administration on Monday. In an interview on The Source with anchor Caitlin Collins, Crespo said he believed the Trump administration decision to cut $2.2 billion from Harvard tonight makes clear why it's so important for Harvard and really every university in the country to take a stand at this critical moment. You mentioned some of the demands that the administration has made of Harvard. It includes things like trying to appoint a federally named oversight official to do an audit of every course, every department at Harvard, to see if we have ideological balance to meet the Trump administration's test for what we teach and what we say at these universities, Crespo said. It's a transparent effort to change what is taught, what we say in our classrooms, what we teach our students, to make sure that the only things that are actually said on university campuses are things that the Trump administration wants to hear and wants to be said. He added, last week, the Trump administration demanded that Harvard change multiple policies, including those regarding protesting and diversity, equity and inclusion programs, in order to hold onto its federal funding. The school shuts down the demands on Monday. No government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue. Harvard President Alan Garber said in a Monday message to the university's community.
I'm really proud that Harvard is standing up for the rule of law against the Trump administration. And so now what has to happen is the courts have to take our claims seriously, and they will, I'm very confident, conclude that the Trump administration's actions are unlawful, like so many other of their actions. And once that's determined, I'm very hopeful that the administration will actually listen to the rulings of the courts, and then we'll get back to normal, which is doing our jobs, which is trying to study and teach and produce good results for the whole country. That's what we do every day.
Do you worry at all that the university set the stage for this by whatever deficits in leadership happened back then?
That's not how I see it. You know, the encampment, the pro-Palestine encampment that took place at Harvard happened after President Gabe was no longer president of the university. What the university has to do then and now is make it really clear that there's free academic speech for everyone to express their views, and that there's a zero-tolerance policy for any discrimination or harassment or bullying on any basis, and that includes anti-Semitism. And that's hugely important, and that's what the university needs to do, and that's our policy, and we need to make sure we enforce that policy.
President Joe Biden addressed the importance of social security and the well-being of Americans with disabilities. President Joe Biden stated, making sure that the more than 60 million Americans who are living with disabilities are treated with dignity. It's who we are as Americans. That's what it's about. The former president's speech comes amid ongoing debate about the future of Social Security, which is projected to face funding shortfalls in the coming decades. Republicans have proposed raising the retirement age and reducing benefits, privatizing Social Security, while Democrats have largely advocated for raising the payroll tax and increasing taxes on higher earners.
That's what the legislation is about. It's about dignity. Simple dignity. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity, regardless of their standing, regardless of economic situation, regardless of who they are. Making sure that more than 60 million Americans who are living with disabilities are treated with dignity is who we are as Americans. That's what it's about. I mean it. Dignity at work, at school, in their communities, in every corner of American life. Laws like the ADA need advocates like you. You're the ones that keep it going, God love you. You fight like hell every single day to make sure the law is respected and your clients' rights are protected. So from the bottom of my heart, I mean this. I give you my word as a Biden. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your commitment to the dignity of all Americans. Because that's what ultimately this is about.
Away from that story, a protester was tased at a town hall event hosted by Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene in Cobb County, Georgia on 15th April 2025 last night. The incident occurred after multiple protesters disrupted Greene as she began speaking, according to the media report. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene responded by saying, "If you stand up and want to protest, if you want to shout and chant, we will have you removed, just like the man that was thrown out. We will not tolerate it."
Can I take this off? Oh, this is wired, okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our great police officers. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my town hall This is a town hall. This is not a political rally. This is not a protest. If you stand up and want to protest, if you want to shout and chant, we will have you removed just like that man was thrown out. We will not tolerate it. This is, let me tell you, this is funded. The Democrats have been rioting. They are the party of violence. They are the party that... Go. 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 If you want to sit and listen, you're welcome to listen. Everyone across the aisle. Democrats, Independents, Republicans. This is a good place. You have a lot to learn. And with that, I'll start with our first video.
Several protesters were escorted out Green's town hall minutes after she took the stage, with one man being tased by the police.
Hands up! Behind your back. Don't move. Stop.
This is a peaceful town hall. Now, this is a peaceful town.
Moving on to other stories. The Trump administration is taking steps to restrict access to Social Security Act benefits for undocumented immigrants and other individuals deemed ineligible, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Leavitt announced that President Trump will sign a presidential memorandum to that effect, stating that it is aimed at stopping illegal aliens and other ineligible people from obtaining Social Security Act benefits.
Later this afternoon, the president will be signing a presidential memorandum aimed at stopping illegal aliens and other ineligible people from obtaining Social Security Act benefits. The memorandum will direct the administration to ensure ineligible aliens are not receiving funds from the Social Security Act programs. It will expand the Social Security Administration's fraud prosecutor program to at least 50 U.S. attorney offices and establishes a Medicare and Medicaid fraud prosecution program in 15 U.S. attorney offices. The memorandum will also require the Social Security Administration Inspector General to investigate earning reports for individuals aged 100 or older with mismatched Social Security records to combat identity theft. And the memorandum will direct the Social Security Administration to consider whether to reinstate the use of civil monetary penalties against individuals who engage in Social Security fraud, an effort that has been paused for several years. These taxpayer-funded benefits should be only for eligible taxpayers. And President Biden should think about what he did in his last term, which is allow tens of millions of illegal people into our country, many of whom were fraudulently receiving these benefits. So,
Anwar Marquez Colmenares, a 33-year-old citizen of Venezuela, is currently being held at an ICE facility in Texas following an arrest by ATF agents at the New Hampshire courthouse. The arrest occurred on February 20th after Colmenares allegedly resisted arrest in a courthouse elevator. At the time, Colmenares was attending an arraignment on charges of driving under the influence, driving without a license, and failing to provide information after an accident, as reported by the Associated Press. During the incident, an elderly man with a cane was accidentally knocked over. Officer Jared Neff of the Hudson Police Department reported hearing yelling and sounds of a struggle. Moving on to other stories. A potential Trump administration could see Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower who oversaw the investigation into Hunter Biden, elevated to a position of acting IRS commissioner. According to reports, the move would likely be met with significant political controversy, given Shapley's role in the politically charged investigation of the president's son. While supporters view Shapley as a dedicated public servant who exposed potential misconduct, critics may argue that his appointment would politicize the IRS and undermine its independence. This comes after he had reported that there were retaliations against him after him and another IRS agent, Joseph Ziegler, spoke out about the Hunter Biden investigation. Prior to this, he had been promoted to Deputy Chief of IRS Criminal Investigations. He and Joseph Ziegler were also assigned to the Treasury Secretary's office as senior advisors for IRS reform. Moving on to other story. Senator Chris Van Hollen, DMD, is traveling to El Salvador to advocate for the release of an individual identified as a member of the MS-13 gang. This action has drawn criticism, with some pointing out that Van Hollen did not publicly offer condolences to the family of Rachel Maureen, who was allegedly murdered by an undocumented immigrant in Maryland. Rachel Maureen, a 37-year-old mother of five from Bel Air, Maryland, was found deceased on August 6, 2023, a day after she was reported missing. She had last been seen going for a jog on the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail. Her death was ruled as a homicide. In February 2024, authorities arrested Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, an undocumented immigrant from El Salvador, in connection with her death. Law enforcement stated that DNA evidence linked him to the crime. In May 2024, Martinez Hernandez was found guilty of first-degree murder, rape, and kidnapping.
I'm here at the airport. I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Albrego Garcia home until he returns to his family. I hope to meet with representatives of the government. I hope to have the chance to actually see Kilmar and see what his condition is. But we are going to keep fighting because this is a miscarriage of justice. The Supreme Court has ruled 9-0, that he was illegally taken out of the country and put in a prison in El Salvador. And this is about due process. This is about rule of law. What bullies do is they begin by picking on the most vulnerable. But if we get rid of the rule of law, due process, in the United States, it's a short road from there to tyranny.
Moving into the world of entertainment, Dulcie, a prominent Ghanaian influencer, was noticeably absent from Richard Niekwe's viral birthday party, surprising many. She later revealed on the Savage Room podcast that she charges 50,000 Ghana cedis for event appearances, a statement that sparked mixed reactions. Dulcie explained she only attends events that meet her standards and compensate her time, preferring to focus on productive activities. This comes ahead of her upcoming Porial Speech event on April 19th, 2025, which gained traction after she announced earning 600,000 Ghana cedis in just 2 minutes selling vendor stands priced at 6,000 Ghana cedis each. Away from that story, Ghanaian rapper Medical recently made a bold statement asserting his dominance in the rap world, stating that he shouldn't be compared to any other rappers, including fellow Ghanaian artist Kwesi Arthur. Medical believes such comparisons undermine his unique achievements and contributions to the music industry. This declaration, which many believe is a promotional tactic for his latest music video, Welcome to Africa, garnered a variety of reactions online. While some social media users disagreed with Medical's self-assessment, others showed their support and acknowledged his accomplishments. Despite Medical and Kwesi Arthur having a history of successful collaborations, Medical explicitly excluded Arthur from any potential comparisons, adding another layer of complexity to his statements. This move has sparked conversation and debate within the Ghanaian music scene about Medical's position and his relationship with other artists. To end the news, the recap of the headlines again. President Mahama has launched 1 million coders program. 1 million coders program initiative to give equal digital opportunity, says Sam George. Chief Justice has launched reforms to boost jury system efficiency. Dulcie Boateng, also known as Dulcie, has said she charges 50,000 Ghana cedis for event appearances. Medical has declared himself unrivaled among African rappers. To acknowledge my sponsors, Center for Trade, Trustees Network Group, Big Family Multimedia Institute, and BFM Store. You can also watch us live and follow us on Facebook at Big Family Radio. You can also follow us on Instagram at Big Family Radio, YouTube and TikTok at Big Family Radio and Big Family TV. You can also read more of these stories on our website at bigfamilyonline.com. Thank you for joining News at 6 from the studio of Big Family Radio. My name is Esther Akosia Gbobli, and a massive thank you to my producers. Have a good evening.